All right, here with reaction, Fox News contributors Charlie Hurt, former governor of Arkansas. Mike Huckabee is with us. Well, he's made up his mind, apparently, Governor. I don't really see a bad choice for the president. I guess at this point, what it really comes down to is who is he most comfortable with?
I think that's the big issue. But, you know, Donald Trump needs to pick someone that will not be a distraction. And there's two ways he could be a distraction, or she could be a distraction. One, if that person tried to overshadow Trump, which is not possible. Nobody overshadows Donald Trump. But if a person was so ambitious they wanted to go out and make a splash, that would be disastrous. Here's the other way. All kidding aside, whoever he picks needs to be so clean, so absolutely without any kind of controversy, as much as is humanly possible, that the rest of the campaign isn't spent defending the pick of vice president. He needs someone that is not going to allow the media to pounce and spend all their waking moments picking out something this person said, something this person did, someone he or she dated in high school, and it's now coming back to bite them. This needs to be a campaign that's focused on Donald Trump's record, because that's what's at issue. And anything else could be a real distraction and is not necessary. Donald Trump doesn't until the last possible minute at the convention. But I think he probably deep down knows. I think it'll be a good pick, but it needs to be one that we all understand. They're going to go after this person as viciously as they've gone after Donald Trump.
That's really well said, Governor. And that goes to the first rule of picking a vice harm.
Yeah, exactly. And how great is that, what the governor just said? You know, it is true. The worst thing you could do is anything that distracts from Donald Trump's record and his position on the issues that people care about. Man, if that's your concern right now in a campaign, then you have a great campaign and you have a great candidate. And I don't think that anybody he does pick is going to get. I don't believe in this idea that if you pick the right person, they're going to win this state or win that state. It doesn't work in the best of cases, and it's certainly not going to work in this case because people are going to vote for or against Donald Trump. The only problem would be if you pick somebody that was a distraction from those issues and from his record. And I think that the two things that are most important, one is that he picks somebody that he is comfortable with and that he can govern with and that he can get things done with, but also someone that he can pick up the mantle and go forward with the America First Trump agenda after 4 years and carry this through. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in Washington. And I believe that this next 4 years will be the most consequential 4 years we've ever seen, but it would be really great to get 12 years out of it.
It really would be amazing. I think, Governor Huckabee, and maybe I'll ask both of you an exit question here. If, in fact, Donald Trump picks somebody, at the end of the day, isn't this really going to be a referendum on Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Really won't have that much to do with vice presidents? Governor Huckabee.
It's always that way. It's always that way. We pretend that the vice president is going to make or break the election, but it never does. It can be the distraction that I mentioned earlier. What this person needs to be is authentic. If there's one quality that person has to bring, it's authenticity. It's that he is a true, genuine, America First person by conviction, not by convenience, not because he got on the ticket, but because he or she is a person who is genuinely committed to the agenda that caused Donald Trump to be president in the first place, and I believe will cause him to be president once again.
Real quick, is it all about Trump, Charlie?
I think absolutely. And, you know, I think the Biden campaign wants to make this election about Donald Trump, and so do we. Let's make it about Donald Trump, the issues, and his record.
Yeah. All right. Well said. By the way, for the record, I think either one of you would have been great on the short list. Just saying. Governor Huckabee, the country could use your humor, and Charlie, they could use your humor as well. Thank you both. All right, when we come back. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.